What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Mohawk Motors. My name is Jason. Today I'm going to be showing you how to turn your scraps from your donor vehicle into cash for your project. Now, I do this most often with GM trucks and SUVs. So some of the information I give you is going to be specific to those vehicles, but you can apply these same principles and strategies no matter what type of vehicle you're parting out. Now, the first part of this we've already covered in a previous video. I'll link it up here. And that is getting your donor vehicle. Obviously, you want to find a donor vehicle with the parts you need. The second step of this process is knowing exactly what parts you have, what you're going to need for your use, and what you don't need and can sell to other people. And GM trucks and SUVs, the easiest way to do that is to look at the service parts identification sticker in the glove box. Now, in this video, we're looking at a 2003 Chevy Trailblazer. Now, a lot of information about the drivetrain, the chassis, that can all be deduced from the VIN number, which is located right here at the top of your parts identification sticker. The rest of the vehicle options, such as gear ratio, brake system, interior options, paint color, transfer case option, engine option, anything else, all of those things you can find by deciphering the 3-digit codes here on the service parts identification sticker. The next thing you need to do is identify what works and what doesn't work, what's good and what's not good, because you're going to need to be able to tell that to people when they have questions. Make sure the power seats work, power mirrors work, if it has power windows, power locks, check all of those things, make sure they work. If the vehicle runs and drives, make sure you drive it yourself so you can tell people that you've driven it, that it shifts correctly, that everything does what it's supposed to do. Check the 4-wheel drive, check the lights, windshield wipers. Basically everything that this vehicle is supposed to do, you need to test it for yourself and see if it works. And it really shouldn't take you more than 5 to 10 minutes to be able to do that. Knowing what works and what doesn't work is going to help you quickly and easily answer people's questions when they're looking for specific parts. Make sure you check the radio, the passenger seat, the back seats, the back windows, all of those things. Get yourself a good idea of everything that is good and not so good about that vehicle, so you're ready to sell it when somebody's ready to buy. You need to be the person that as soon as they say, hey, I'm looking for this, you can say, hey, I have that part, it works really well, here's my price. The other thing you need to do is assess the overall condition. Do the seats have stains? Do they have tears? Is the upholstery nice? Are the plastic pieces in good shape? Are the body panels in good shape? Is the bottoms of the doors and the rear hatch in good condition, or are they rusted out? Is the paint in overall good condition, or does it need to be repainted? Take the time to actually check this thing out. Again, 10 to 15 minutes at the most, so you really know what you're trying to sell to people. The next step, and arguably the most important step, is get good pictures of it, especially the best parts. This Trailblazer, for example, has really nice doors. The hood is in really good condition. The fenders are in good condition and not rusted out. I'm going to try to get good pictures that show all of those parts clearly so that people can see for themselves and I don't get asked a million times for more pictures. I do most of my listing and selling on Facebook Marketplace. So when I'm selling the parts and pieces that are left over, I list it as auto parts. If I were trying to sell the entire vehicle, then I would list it as a vehicle. But where you list it is going to help save you time and unnecessary questions. The best way for you to do this quickly and efficiently is to have to answer as few questions and take as few additional pictures as possible. So by showing everything in your posting, in your listing, and being specific about what you write in the description, it's going to help you avoid all those unnecessary and redundant questions. The other part of this that you have to consider is who's going to pull the parts. Are you going to pull the parts, or are you going to expect your potential customers to pull the parts? I prefer to pull all the parts, especially since I work with the same vehicles frequently. I know how to get them apart very quickly. I have all the tools handy and easily accessed. So it takes me, 15-20 minutes most of the time to get off a part that they need. Unless it's some major drivetrain component like the transmission, transfer case, those take a little bit longer. By pulling the parts myself, now I'm not only providing something that the person wants, I'm also providing them with a service. If they were just trying to get a used part cheap, they could go to the local You Pull It yard, roll around in the mud and the dirt or whatever else, sift through 15 other vehicles, and pull the part off themselves. But by me pulling the part and keeping the hardware, bolts, nuts, etc. handy for them, it saves them that time of going to search, and it also saves them some of the frustration of figuring out how to take it apart when they're not at their convenient place of doing their actual project. So it allows me to charge just a little bit better price than what they would pay at, a You Pull It yard. My goal when I'm parting something out is to sell that part to the first person that asks about it. And I do that by knowing what I have, knowing what's available, knowing what the typical market price is for that part, that used part, and being able to have it ready for that person as soon as possible, preferably the same day or the next day at the latest. That way, when somebody messages me and they say, do you have the driver's side door? I can say, yes I do, here's my price for it, it comes with X, X, and X. That way, they're not shopping around, and I can offer a price that's competitive with, again, a You Pull It yard or any other used parts sales place. But because I can have it ready right away, and my price is competitive, and they don't have to do anything other than pick it up and pay the money, it helps me get the parts sold faster. You also have to consider how available are the parts you have. You have to dictate your prices based on market availability and what people can get that part for locally. The biggest thing that I think a lot of people forget is, and maybe it just depends on what your goal is, but if I'm selling the leftover parts from my engine donor, I'm not trying to get rich. I'm trying to get as many of those parts sold as I can before I take the leftovers to the scrapyard. If I sell a hood for $30, that hood was only worth about 72 cents in scrap metal. So which way do I want to go? Again, my objective is to sell as much of that vehicle in parts and pieces before I have to get rid of it as possible. I need to get the parts that I need off of it and get the leftovers out of here, usually within 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm selling parts at a very competitive price and doing the labor of getting them out and getting them ready for the person that wants them. Those are really the major components. Know what you're selling, know what they sell at your local U-Pool or used auto parts place, and price your product accordingly. Again, if you have to get rid of this donor, you're way better to sell parts cheap than you are to try to get scrap out of it. Especially if you're not able to get it to the scrapyard yourself. But let's jump inside and I'll show you how I actually make my listing in Facebook Marketplace. So I'm going to give it the title, Parts Only, 2003 Chevy Trailblazer EXT. I'm going to add my photos in. There we go, I've got my photos in. Price isn't super important right now, so I just put like 1357. Category, auto parts. Condition, good condition. Now in my description, I want to try to be as descriptive as possible, and I also want to avoid unnecessary questions. So I put in the critical information, right? There we go. So now I have my description written up, I have my pictures uploaded, I have a price put in that people should be able to look at that and know that's not actually what I'm selling it for. I'm not adding any additional tags. I'm happy with how this looks. So now I hit next. I keep it close to my location. If there are any other groups you're part of that this might be useful, add it to those also. I'm going to publish, and there we go. My listing is up, active, and hopefully I'll start getting some people looking for parts soon. If you were able to use any of these tips to help part out one of your donors, or even just a vehicle that you have laying around and you need to get rid of, leave a comment down below. Alright everybody, well hopefully you're able to use these tips and suggestions to turn your donor into what I affectionately refer to as a carcass, like this. It'll help provide a little bit more funding for your project and hopefully help you get it done sooner as well. If you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the other videos we upload. And until the next time, take care.